Well, Texas has reached a grim milestone this week, with the state hitting 3 more single-day records. According to the Texas Department of State Health Services, on Tuesday, the state reported 60 deaths, and then on Wednesday, it reported 98 deaths, and then on Thursday, it kept on growing, reported 105 deaths, bringing the total death count to more than 2,900 since March. And now their total case count is above 230,000. As we discussed earlier in the week, Governor Greg Abbott issued an executive order mandating Texans to wear masks in public in counties with 20 or more COVID-19 cases, and he also instituted a $250 fine for those who violated his executive order. But as we mentioned, some Texas sheriffs are refusing to enforce that mandate. So with this surge in cases, will Texas have to walk back their phases of reopening? Joining us to discuss is Texas Republican Congressman Jodey Arrington. Congressman, welcome back.
Great to be with both of you, Lindsay, David.
All right. Well, Texas, it's now number 11 globally for cases of COVID. You know, every day we're seeing a little bit of a spike here. I got to ask you, is Texas going to have to start closing down? And if so, what is that going to do to the economy there?
No, Texas won't shut down. The citizens of Texas won't allow for it, and I don't believe the governor would support that. The fact is there will be far greater harm to our communities and our families and public health if we do shut down. We're going to learn more about that from blue states and blue cities that are completely on lockdown. It's unsustainable. I think the people of Texas can manage the capacity at each of the local communities and hospitals. I don't see systemic implications here. I think the threshold should be high, and that is if there's broad-based systemic impact to the health system, then you can take more extreme measures. And I don't see that. I see Texas managing the capacity at the local level well. I understand spikes will come and go. You're on the heels of July 4th celebrations. You've had tens of thousands of people taken to the street, led by our mayor of Houston, who is confused about his policies about when people should or should not be coming out of their basements. But I can tell you that this will all be managed, and we'll see the numbers come down. I think it's overblown.
Governor Abbott is trying to have those numbers come down with his mask mandate that we've mentioned, but a lot of sheriffs out there are saying they won't enforce it. Do you stand with the sheriffs on this or Governor Abbott?
Well, I'm for rule of law, and but I think the governor, has to be really careful with these mandates, because I don't see that threshold of systemic impact, as I mentioned before. And I think that the communities like mine in Lubbock, Texas, out in the West Texas area, have plenty of capacity and are doing well. I think they're managing it effectively, as most communities are. And again, where there needs to be some step up in restrictions or engagement by the local governments and local officials, and new and greater precautions need to be taken into consideration, that should be on a case-by-case basis and dictated by the circumstances on the ground, not a blanket, one approach for all communities for Texas. Doesn't seem very Texan to me.
Congressman, at this point, late July, the president's going to go down to Texas for a fundraiser down there. What would be the advice at this point? You think he should still go down there to Texas?
Absolutely. I travel my district and have been, and people are getting back to normal. They're getting back into the community and to making a living for their families. God bless them, because we've made it very difficult to do that, and we're putting great duress on our citizens. But we welcome him in West Texas. I guarantee you the folks in my part of Texas love this president, his strength, the policies he's put in place that have increased our prospects for greater prosperity, not only throughout the country, but especially in rural areas like West Texas. He's probably the most pro-energy, pro-ag, pro-rural American president that we've seen in recent history, if ever, whether it's America First trade deals like the recent USMCA and China deals, the tax reduction in taxes and regulatory burden. I mean, the level of prosperity we were experiencing in West Texas was unprecedented pre-COVID, and they embrace him for it, and they're behind him all the way.
The president this week is expected to refile to end DACA. Many people have said he's just trying to fuel his base there, but we showed a poll a few weeks ago that showed 60% of those who voted for him in 2016 actually supported DACA and didn't want him to end it. If he does move forward with this, do you think that that's a mistake?
I think the president has to be loyal first and foremost to the Constitution. We all as Republicans espouse this notion of rule of law. This was an executive overreach and an unconstitutional one by President Obama. It encouraged people to bring their families and jeopardize the safety of their children by coming to this country illegally. We certainly had negotiations in the Republican-led Congress where we were willing to give DACA recipients peace of mind for securing the border and stopping illegal immigration once and for all, and not a single Democrat took us up on it. So I think the president has to rescind this. I think the Justice Roberts and the majority opinion was very flimsy. I think it was an excuse not to wade into a controversial and probably an unpopular decision, but it's one that if we need to take any action on, should be done by Congress. That would force us to do something that would actually put, first of all, the American citizens first and the safety of our families, and then we could do something possibly to negotiate on the DACA recipients. Again, we tried that, and we offered it to the Democrats, who said that they were all for it, and then they turned and walked away.
So, Congressman, I got 30 seconds. So good luck with this answer in 30 seconds or less. COVID relief, a new bill. Do you want to see a new bill? Steve Mnuchin, Treasury Secretary, says he doesn't want a large sweeping bill. I mean, you got families, you got small businesses. Where's the priority there?
Well, I think that if there are any gaps on the temporary and targeted relief, I'm open to that. But we have billions still working its way through the system. I think, secondly, remove the barriers. Stop paying people to stay on unemployment rather than to return to their jobs. I think legal liability and the cloud of frivolous lawsuits hanging over every business owner and employee and frontline workers is a real problem. And I also see this as an opportunity, David, to put a provision in there to stave off a debt crisis long term. Force Congress to do something about the debt to GDP in this unsustainable position we're in.
Congressman, it's always great to have you. Appreciate your insights. Thanks for being here.
God bless. Good to be with you guys.
All right.